Hello everyone and welcome to 3Y TV tonight's broadcast of the Total Non-Stop Racing Bagcraft Cornhole.com Grand National Series here from the beautiful Darlington Raceway, the track that is too tough to tame. I'm Peter Short. Joining me alongside here tonight is none other than Garrett Gleason. Garrett, great to have you up here in the booth, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching these drivers around this racetrack tonight.
Peter, I'm absolutely thrilled to be back in the booth with you, watching these BagcraftCornhole.com GNS Series drivers out there on track. This track is hot and slick, and Darlington's tough to begin with, bud. This is going to be a crazy race, and we'll see if these guys can keep it off that wall for long enough to take checkered flag.
Yeah, keeping off the wall might be key here tonight, but looking at the scoring pylon, JT Poole and JD Laird, two drivers, Garrett, who have been very, very fast this season. I know you've been in the race car so far for the opening three races, but it's kind of crazy that those two drivers have not got more wins to their name yet. Been fast every week so far, but right now, top of the scoring pylon with JT Poole and JD Laird 1-2 right now.
You got two different levels of experience there, Peter. You got JT Poole, who's a young gun. This hot, slick track really plays it to his strength. Then you have someone like JD Laird, who's been doing this for a long time, one of the best drivers in the world. And they're out there neck and neck, it seems like, every week, and they battle constantly. And I'm not surprised that they haven't had more wins because of the strength of the field we have here at Total Non-Stop Racing. But at the same time, it's not going to be long before we see them in victory lane again, because they're that talented, and it's only a matter of time until the luck is on their side and they start racking up these checkered flags.
So we got these drivers out there on the racetrack. Here's the number 20 of Jason Freeman working his way up on to the racing surface. Currently, the number 20 is 9th on the scoring pylon. Bill Edwards, there he is with one of our throwback schemes. This was a scheme that, believe it or not, Austin Dillon ran, or maybe his brother ran, Ty Dillon, one of the Dillons. But it used to say American Ethanol. Well, Bill Edwards now says American Oil on the hood of the number 50 as he goes around. Maybe found an oil slick or something out there, G.
Yeah, it's possible, and with the crews they send to clean up these oil spills, and at the frequency that happens, it's going to be a while before we get back to racing here. Oh no, never mind, it's a simulation, we're fine.
Good old NASCAR and their ineptitude in cleaning up oil spills sometimes. There is the number 12 Stay Tuned Sports Machine. That is a white Texaco wannabe car. In fact, we got quite a few throwback schemes here tonight. Garrett, always great to see the throwback schemes when you come to Darlington Raceway. There is one of the drivers who doesn't necessarily have a throwback scheme, but that is James Lorello, who's sporting his daughter's paint scheme. Elizabeth Lorello has Elizabeth Lorello Racing on the hood. They sponsored the race a couple weeks back at Rockingham Speedway. But speaking of race sponsors, tonight, Garrett, we got Jason Schue Racing sponsoring this race. And Jason won a race recently at Rockingham Speedway.
Yeah, Jason Schue coming through with us for the sponsorship tonight. He's off of a win at Rockingham, like you just said, and I guess that put him in a good enough mood to sponsor this race. So let's hope he could continue out another one of the more historic NASCAR tracks out there, Peter, in Darlington. If he's good at Rockingham, maybe he'll put a good run together tonight. We'll definitely be rooting for Jason at number 3, and we appreciate him helping the league out.
So that number 13 currently inside the top 10 on the scoring pylon, sitting in 8th. But let's take a look at this racetrack, a very unique racetrack as we look at it high atop. The one thing that you'll notice the most here, Garrett, is the fact that this is an egg-shaped racetrack. There are a few other racetracks that have differences between turn number 1 and 2 and turn number 3 and 4, but this one in particular is probably the most obvious of all of them, with turns number 1 and 2 being very sweeping, very fast. And then turn number 3 and 4, you really have to use a lot of brake for, as 3 and 4 there at the bottom of the screen right now, just a little bit sharper than turns number 1 and 2, and it makes for a very unique racing experience, especially with the widths of the track varying, the lines varying, the grip levels varying around this racetrack, Garrett. It is a handful for these drivers.
That's the perfect way to say it, Peter. It is a handful out there. I talked to a bunch of drivers before I jumped in the booth, and they all were saying the same thing. Oh, I got turns 1 and 2 figured out, but I don't have 3 and 4. And then you'd have the other half of them saying, well, I got 3 and 4 figured out, I don't have 1 and 2. That just proves what a diverse racetrack this is, Peter, and that sometimes you just can't put that complete lap together because they are so different. And that's why these guys have run so much practice. Most of these guys were in this session early, getting all these laps in, and as practice is winding down to the final seconds here, we're headed towards qualifying, we'll see who figured it out.
That we will here in just a few seconds, as like you said, Garrett will be moving over into the qualifying round and see which of these drivers qualify on the pole here tonight. Qualifying might be very important because this is such a difficult racetrack to get around, Garrett. It can be difficult to pass, although we do have 2 stage cautions here, and those could be to the advantage of drivers if you do not get a great qualifying lap time in here as drivers start to work their way out onto the racetrack. One of the first ones is the fastest man in practice. That is JT Poole, the number 26 machine, getting that hot rod up onto the racetrack, having to stay there below that yellow line until they see the blue line there right on the exit of turn number 2. Shot way up the racetrack and straight into the wall. JT Poole, that is not what you want to have happen to start your qualifying run. He's going to have to jump back to the pits. That is an unforced error here early from JT Poole.
Yeah, he wanted to get out there, probably be the first car on track for the qualifying run, and he just got a little too overzealous, heating up the tires there, trying to get on the track, and it bit him. But the good thing about this simulation is you could go and have a redo, like Bob talked about last week. So we're looking at Jason Gracias now, and he's had a couple weeks off. I'm sure he's glad to be back behind the wheel of the #1 Bagcraft machine, and we'll see what type of lap he puts down.
Heads off into turn number 1 and 2, gets up right close to the wall. One of the unique things about this racetrack is you almost have to diamond turn number 1 and 2. You have to kind of drive it in there straight, then right in the middle of the corner, you have to get that thing cranked around to get straight. We call that diamonding as Gracia smacks the wall through turn number 3 and 4. He is going to continue this lap. Maybe that was just a graphical glitch, because if you hit the wall in your qualifying lap time, iRacing will not allow you to score that lap, as Jason Gracias did not get a lap time in. So indeed, he hit the wall. There's the fastest man so far. That is the number 12 of John Cannizzaro Jr.
Yeah, no surprise there. John Cannizzaro, another young gun that likes the hot, slick racetracks, I'm sure. But like Jason Gracias mentioned in our Discord and earlier in the driver's meeting, that this track is going to go through a transition tonight. So guys that are good here in the hot weather could potentially struggle when the weather cools down later on in the race when we have the transition.
So lap times are starting to come in here, and live timing and scoring not quite picking them up. We're anticipating an iRacing update here that will come out here very shortly. It will bring some new features and new cars to the sim. We'll see how that affects our graphics package as well, but at least for right now, keep your eyes on the bottom of your screen as these drivers continue to click off lap times. But right now, Garrett, John Cannizzaro Jr., Ben Eizenga, great lap time by the 07. John Eckhart, the 4th and 3rd. Bill Edwards and Lupe Gonzalez, our current top 5. But right now, Philip Scott in that number 99, trying to pick up a little bit more on lap number 2, unable to do so. JT Poole now, fastest man in practice, gonna go top of the board. Garrett came back down pit road after that unforced error, got that number 26 patched up. Fastest of all, Lupe Gonzalez now up into 3rd. JT gonna just back it down here to not complete his next lap. Kyle Zimmer slots into the top 10 down there in 9th. Mike Floppy Tellier, not great for the Canadian driver so far here, Garrett, as he spins out of turn number 4 as well. In fact, doing burnouts on the front stretch as the number 97 leaves the racetrack. Just about 3 minutes left in, 1 minute left in qualifying here until we move over into the race session. There we go. Times finally appearing at the top of the screen. JT Poole, John Cannizzaro, Lupe Gonzalez, Ben Eizenga, John Eckhart, the 4th up there. As that driver right there, the number 14, Kevin Stone, with a Terry Labonte throwback scheme this week. Fanucci wear on the hood in a likeness of a Kellogg's cornflakes scheme like Terry Labonte used to run. Currently, the number 14, though, is 16th on the board. New driver inside the top 5 is James Dorello. There is the Elizabeth Lorello Racing Chevy Camaro. Just clips the wall there. This lap will be disallowed by iRacing, so will not improve. Well, let's keep our eyes on this driver right here. That's the number 46 machine, J.D. Laird. Hot looking car. That is one really good looking ride there as he heads off into turn number 3 and 4. What can he do on his qualifying lap time? Just 12 seconds left. Has to get all he can to head down towards the front stretch, leaving it very late in his JDR graphics machine. Comes across the line, and Garrett, I think he clipped the wall there coming out of turn number 4. We didn't get a great angle of it, but no time for J.D. Laird. Second fastest driver in practice. Did not get a qualifying lap time in, and that is going to be really unfortunate. We're going to see him charge his way from the back here tonight. Let's see if we can get the starting lineup, though, for everyone back at home, because it is the Jason Schue Racing 110 coming up for you here live in the Bagcraft Grand National Series. JT Poole, John Canizaro, your front row. Lupe Gonzalez, Ben Eizenga, row number 2. James Orello, John Eckhart, the 4th, will comprise the 3rd row here tonight. And then back behind them, Bill Edwards and Philip Scott, 7th and 8th. Jason Freeman and Kyle Zimmer rounding out our top 10 tonight.
Jamar Dumas will roll off in 11th, and welcome back to TNR. Alonso Chicano rolling off in 12th. Vincent Valvano with a decent qualifying run will start 13th. Tristan Thuggy Maher to his outside in 14th. Stephen Doziak with a top 15 qualifying run in number 55, and Kevin Stone to his outside starting 16th. Brady Todd will roll the number 15 off in the 17th position. Alongside him is Jay Coyle in the 25. Mike Floppy Tellier starting deep in the field in 19th position, and Robert Tripp in the 35 rounding out our top 20.
And then behind them are a couple of big names here in the Total Nonstop Racing Bagcraft Grand National Series. J.D. Laird, we've mentioned how fast he has been this season, but has shot himself in the foot a couple of times. Hopefully that is not the case here tonight, but he's going to have a lot of work to do in the 110 laps, starting from 21st. Cam Caldwell in the number 21 will be rolling off to the outside of J.D. Laird, and Cam is also very, very quick. So going to be fun to see him charge his way through the field. And of course, Jason Gracias, a former series champion here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Jason has a lot of work to do as well in his number 1. So 21st, 22nd, 23rd, we're all going to keep our eyes on those drivers as they work their way up through the field. Justin White, out of race admin, not starting the race here tonight. But back behind them, we got David Harvey, last week's winner at Bristol Motor Speedway, made a genius strategy call to get out front. Got the win, his first win in the iRacing iteration of the Total Nonstop Racing League. Of course, Garrett Gleason, you're alongside me here tonight. Fernando Matos will be rolling off 27th. Jason Schue of Jason Schue Racing, tonight's race sponsor, will be rolling off in 28th. Keith Carball and Johnny Williams rounding out our field, but a big field here tonight. Garrett, 28 cars. Going to be a lot of fun as they work their way around this racetrack for 110 laps. 2 stage breaks here tonight, one on lap number 25 and then a second one on lap number 60. We'll keep our eyes on that. We've seen some great racing before these stage breaks, Garrett, over the last couple of weekends, and it really has been an addition to the Nonstop Racing League that, in my opinion, has been really positive this year. Usually I'm fairly negative against stages. I'm not a big fan personally. I know some people like them, some people don't. But with the few cautions that we've had this year, it's been kind of a nice break in the race. Hopefully we don't have a whole lot of cautions here tonight. Tristan Maher in the chat. If you're in the chat here tonight, make sure you speak up. Let us know. We'd love to talk to you here as we're about to get the green flag for 110 laps. Green flag in the flag man's hand. And there it is. Green flag is out. A little bit of wheel spin for John Canizaro as the field heads off towards turn number 1, Garrett.
Yeah, here we go, Peter. This track gets narrow very quickly, and these guys are going to have a little bit of give and take here. Throttle control will be key. Try not to run somebody over. And guys like J.D. Laird, Jason Gracias, and those guys coming from the back of the field, you just don't want to get in somebody else's mess, as we see Jason Freeman, I believe that is, getting out of shape there.
Caution flag not out, but a couple of issues a little bit further back in the field. One of those involving that driver right there, Brady Todd, in the Winn-Dixie machine. Let's see if we can see what happened to Brady. Was well back in the field, running right behind Johnny Williams as they headed towards turn number 1. Johnny Williams gets into the wall and just plows into the back of the number 60. And unfortunately for Brady Todd, that might be the end of his night before it almost got going. Green flag, though, stays in the air. Looks like Brady Todd able to continue on, but that is a lot of damage on the Winn-Dixie machine. We'll keep our eyes on there whether or not he's able to continue out there on the racetrack. Here is a hard charger, Garrett. Number 99, Philip Scott. Started this race in 8th, already picked up 2 spots. He's up to 6th. And you were telling me before the start of the race that you had an interesting Philip Scott fact.
Well, Peter, Philip Scott runs up front every week, no matter what league we're broadcasting, TNR, NSRA. And a little birdie told me before the race, well, he asked me before the race, he said, how many laps do you think Philip Scott's led? And I said, I don't know, 100, 150, more? 19 laps in his TNR career Philip Scott has led. It seems unfathomable that is the number, how low it is. But Philip Scott's always knocking on the door of a win. I'd like to see him get up front in this race. He put a lot of practice in, he was saying. He said the open set he used was definitely driving a little different, but he was pretty fast in practice, and like you said, he's making his way towards the front right now.
Someone making their way towards the front. We said we'd be keeping our eyes on him. That is J.D. Laird, already plus 7 positions in the opening 5 laps. And one thing about this stage break on lap number 25, Garrett, is the fact that you can really drive hard. You are going to come down pit road on lap number 25 regardless, because you eat tires so badly at this racetrack. I mean, it's so hard to keep tires underneath you. But J.D. Laird is making use of the Goodyear rubber that he has underneath that Chevy Camaro, at least the virtual rubber, that is. And he's caught up to Jason Freeman right here now, looking for a way underneath the number 20 off of turn number 4. It gets tight right there. But wow, J.D. Laird already on a mission. Got around Jamar Dumas. That is the Stay Tuned Sports podcast machine right behind him. That number 28 that you see right there started in 11th, but slid back to 14th. And speaking of Stay Tuned Sports, we got Stay Tuned Sports in the chat here tonight, becoming a pit crew member for the 2nd month in a row, and you will see that your badge will change colors as you continue to be a pit crew member here on the channel. You get to use those fancy schmancy emotes, custom emotes that we have here on the channel. And why don't you smash some of those emotes there, Stay Tuned Sports. We want to thank you for continuing your membership here as a pit crew member, as J.D. Laird got around Jason Freeman and slowly clawing his way towards the top 10.
Great run so far for J.D. Laird, and he's stayed out of other people's mess, and somebody to just keep an eye on as he continues to make his way forward. And we look at a good battle here between Ben Eizenga, Lupe Gonzalez, and James Lorello, not too far out of the picture either here. Right out towards the end of our top 5 is what I was trying to say there, Peter.
Yeah, and Ben Eizenga, who started this race in 4th, now running in 3rd, being hounded by Lupe Gonzalez, who was kind of in the reverse of that situation. Qualified 3rd, now running in 4th. So a good battle up near the front of the field. Looking a little bit further back, here's this group continuing to race. That's Kyle Zimmer in the bright red Sinorama machine. That is Sinorama of Hollandale on the hood of Kyle Zimmer's number 51 machine. Of course, we had the Sinorama race last week at Bristol Motor Speedway. Big shout out to Sinorama. If you are in the southeast portion of Florida, down around Miami, make sure you check out your local Sinorama for all your custom signs and business needs. Kyle Zimmer right there in that number 51, still holding on to a top 10 spot after qualifying inside the top 10. Good job so far here as we work lap number 10. 10s are wild right now. In fact, getting underneath Bill Edwards, trying to pull the slide job. Bill gave him a little bit extra room there. And now J.D. Laird says, you know what? Bill went up the racetrack, had to get out of the gas. I'm going to take that spot too. So J.D. is now inside the top 10, plus 11 spots in 10 laps, Garrett. That's basically a spot a lap as Bill Edwards catches the wall back there. Man, that could have been bad as Tristan Maher was tucked up right underneath his rear spoiler.
Yeah, some great racing there. Bill Edwards did a good job saving that. And I just wanted to go back to Kyle Zimmer real quick, Peter. I think this is the track where Kyle Zimmer burst onto the TNR scene in the truck series. He ran, I believe it was top 10 all race long, and he finished in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much out of nowhere. in that Sinorama truck at the time, and now the car. So no surprise seeing him run well tonight, getting passed there by J.D. Laird, and maybe he'll learn a little something following J.D. through the field.
So Kyle Zimmer, like you said, Garrett, did get a top 5, I believe, in his first race last season. And right now, running inside the top 10 again. So maybe this is a track that he really runs well at. There's Ben Eizenga still holding on to third over the number 53 machine, Lupe Gonzalez. And one thing that we need to start talking about, Garrett, because we're halfway through the first stage, is the fact that at the end of the first stage, the top 8 drivers get points. And that could be important come the end of the season. Absolutely.
Those points add up. Guys like Mike Tellier, who last season wasn't getting any stage points, has been getting a ton of stage points. And when the time comes for our chase, that's really going to make a difference, Peter, as we're going to look at probably an issue here with the Skull Bandit.
Yeah, just trying to see if something happened here to Jake Hoyle, because just kind of came off the racetrack and in the number 25 machine, and might have hit the wall. Let's see if we can see right here, already off the pace here coming out of turn number 2. No, just got off the gas, let David Harvey on by, and came down pit road. So the number 25, not sure what happened to Jake Hoyle, but he is now no longer on the racetrack. Jake Hoyle might become our first retirement of the night. There's your race leader, JT Poole, all clean sailing out front, just looking like there might be a little bit of right side damage, getting that Darlington stripe, as we call it. Garrett, everyone tends to get one here, but it can be very important that you limit your damage on the right side of that car, because this racetrack's very fast. And the faster the racetrack is, the more aerodynamically important the racetrack is. This is one of those that aerodynamics does come into play, so you want to keep that car as square and as clean as you can, as Lupe Gonzalez trying to take back that third spot from Ben Eizenga here on lap number 16.
Peter, you're absolutely right about the aerodynamics that you need here at the Darlington. You don't want to smash that right side of your car in, that's for sure, because the handling characteristics will change completely and you will struggle out there. But this track is the perfect example of being on the edge but never going over the edge, because the second you go over that edge, you are going to pay for it, as we're looking again at the remarkable progress J.D. Laird's made so far. 14 positions, and we still have 8 laps to go in the stage, but there's a bit of a gap now between him and the next car.
And importantly, Garrett, J.D. Laird now is in the points-paying positions for the stage break. So he is in the spot right now where he would pick up 2 points. Now that isn't, 8. The winner of the stage will get 8 points, but that number 46, at least he'll get a couple of points here if he can stay where he's at. Maybe he can even run down Philip Scott, although the gap up to the number 99 is a pretty decent one, and we only have a couple of laps left. So very impressive so far for him. Let's check out a couple of the other drivers who we said, you know what, we need to keep our eyes on them as well. Jason Gracias, who started this race in 23rd, he's now up into 15th, and make that 14th as he makes the pass on the number 28 of Jamar Dumas. Dumas there getting a little bit out of shape. Behind him, Mike Floppy Tellier in the number 97. That is the Diablo 2 number 97. Got Blizzard on the side of that Chevy Camaro going way back on the paint schemes there. Cool to see that Mike with the Blizzard machine back there. And ooh, that was someone I think getting a little bit slideways. That was Vincent Valvano. Got loose out of turn number 4. We saw a couple of drivers do that very thing in practice. But right now, Vincent Valvano finds himself in 19th. Definitely not one of the biggest movers so far. But I was also kind of curious about Cam Caldwell, because we're expecting him to make some moves forward. Cam is currently riding in the 18th spot, plus 4 from the drop of the green. All right, Garrett, time for us to focus up towards the front of the field. Your race leader, JT Poole, working his way through traffic right there. Just put the number 29 machine of Keith Carbaugh 1 lap down. But let's keep our eyes on this battle right here. This is a battle for second between John Cannizzaro Jr. and Ben Eizenga. This is for 7 bonus points. at the end of the stage, which will come in 5 laps from now. They're catching some lap traffic at an awkward spot there, trying to get around the number 60 machine. As we're hearing, there has been another possible issue out on the racetrack. Let's see if we can see what happened here in just a moment, but this is some good battling. We're hearing it's involving Johnny Williams as, oh, wow, that was tight there. And I think Cannizzaro might have been put in the wall there by Eizenga, Garrett. There might have been a smidgen of contact between those two.
Yeah, unintentional contact, and maybe John just got up a little higher trying to give Ben some room there, but that's what happens here at Darlington. It is just so narrow, and even two of the best drivers in the series could have an issue like that.
So let's see if we can figure out what happened to Johnny Williams that did not bring out a caution flag. But there's the number 9 machine with his throwback scheme this week. Going through turns number 1 and 2 here. Gets a little bit high there. Garrett hits that wall. Heavy contact with the inside wall. And the Southern Sim Graphics number 9 is calling it a night. I think after that, we'll see if they can get it back out and fix back up, but not looking good. As John Cannizzaro Jr., we saw him lose that spot to Ben Eizenga. Now he's being hounded by Lupe Gonzalez. Close battle here. There's Philip Scott riding in 6th. Jimmy 5th. J.D. Laird now up into 6th position. Got around, I think, Alonso Chicano. Big move there. James Arello has slid back in the number 13 machine. Maybe that's what it was. Let's see if we can do a little bit of investigations there. But Garrett, this is good battle for 3rd here as we have about a lap and a half left in the stage.
Tremendous battle. These guys have been putting on a show for these first 25 laps, and it's nice to see Lupe Gonzalez keeping that number 53 up there the entire time. Dropped a spot early on in the run, but he's been fighting to get right back to that 3rd position, and John Cannizzaro is going to have his hands full holding him off here for these last couple corners.
So just doing a little bit of research, James Arello, Garrett, in the number 13, really struggling right now. He was riding inside the top 5. He must have hit the wall or something and has now a lot of right side damage. That's why he has fallen all the way back to the 9th position. Doesn't look like he's going to score any points here in stage number 1, because coming out of turn number 4 to win the stage, JT Poole will pick up 8 bonus points. He's been really strong in the stages so far this year. Of course, got that win back at Daytona, and will get 8 extra points here. Ben Eizenga finishing 2nd in the stage. 3rd goes to Cannizzaro, Lupe Gonzalez 4th, then Philip Scott, followed by J.D. Laird there in his impressive run from 21st to 6th. Phil Edwards in 7th, right where he started the race, and in 8th, Tristan Thuggy Maher, who gained 6 spots in the first stage. All those drivers receiving some points, and an impressive opening stage as we went caution-free. But now we'll get to re-rack them, do it all over again, as I'm sure we'll see most of the field on pit road here in just a brief moment.
Yeah, I think there won't be any curiosity from us, Peter, up in the booth, what these guys are going to do. They're all going to come down and take 4 tires and go from there. We'll see if these guys hit their marks, and somebody like J.D. Laird can maybe gain a couple spots on pit road to really help get them even further towards the front.
So JT Poole will peel off the racetrack and come down pit road. Has to be careful to not pass the pace car, because if you do pass the pace car, that's a penalty that iRacing will assess you. Johnny Williams in the chat saying over 8 minutes of required repair. That was a very heavy hit, Johnny. We'll see if we get you back out there on the racetrack here in a little bit. Christopher Hupka in the chat. Bob Giaquinto in the chat. Bob, I think you're at work. If you are at work, make sure you do work very well. I mean, 3-wide TV is kind of it is just for fun, but hopefully you can listen along doing whatever you're doing. Of course, having the night off to do that. As a 26, JT Poole hits his pit stall here, the very first pit stall, the one right at the very end of pit road. I don't know, Garrett. Some people call that the first pit stall. Other people call it the last pit stall. I believe it's pit stall number 1 to add to the confusion. But he's going to be the first one off pit road. Looks like Ben Eizenga, Lupe Gonzalez, and then the number 99 machine. Big loser on pit road that time was John Cannizzaro Jr. Lost a couple of spots. There he is in the Stay Tuned Sports number 12. Going to fall back to 6th for this upcoming restart.
I think Cannizzaro decided it was early enough in the run that he wanted to get that right side pulled out from that little bit of contact he had, and he's going to take it now, so hopefully he doesn't have to do it later. So we'll see if it pays off for him. But it breaks my heart to see John Cannizzaro struggle. You know, I'm just a huge fan of his, and I want him to do well all the time. And I said that with a straight face.
Well, there you go. I hope you said that with a straight face. I don't know. We can't see you. I think we need a Garrett Gleason face cam. No. We don't need that. We don't need that. I was just joking, folks. And, yeah, we don't need that. We have fun up here in 3YT booth. Let's see if we can check out JT Poole. There he is. iRacing pace car lights are still on. Let's see if we can get maybe a quick word with him. See how things are going in the number 26. Bring him up here into the Total Nonstop Racing broadcast booth. JT Poole, Peter Short, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, so far so good for you in that number 26 machine. How's the track driving?
It's really hot right now. It should be cooling off pretty soon, and we got the 4X time accelerator on it here, so once it starts cooling off, they won't stop, and should be getting grippier here. We got some more rubber on the track, so should be getting faster, more stable here. I only got one Darlington stripe so far, so looking good.
Yeah, 131 degrees track temperature right now is what our sensors are reading up here in the 3Y TV booth. How are you expecting the track to change? Is expecting it to tighten up some?
I wouldn't say tighten up, just gripping up. I mean, this car is pretty loose early on, and then it's just really unbalanced in 3 and 4. Pretty tight in entry there, and then on exit it gets kind of sideways. So we should be getting more grip here, just faster. Hoping it doesn't get tighter, because I'm not good with tight cars, but I'm better with loose ones. So yeah, we'll see how this race goes, and hopefully we're P1 by the end of this thing. So.
All right, well, JT, pace car lights are off, so we'll let you get back to it. Best of luck here.
Sir.
All right, we'll put him back with his group there. And Garrett, it's going to be really interesting to see if he can kind of hold on to that spot here going forward.
Peter, I think you called it at the beginning of the broadcast between the 26 and J.D. Laird. That's going to be our battle, and that's who I'm keeping my eye on right now. And I'm not counting Ben Eizenga out. I know how talented he is. I'm not counting Lupe Gonzalez out, Philip Scott, any of these guys. But so far, those are the two cars that seem to have this place figured out the most. But like we said earlier, this place is going to undergo a transition. This track is going to get cooler. It's going to get darker. And we'll see what these guys have as we're going back green.
We are going back green already on the loud pedal. It is the number 26 of JT Poole, but a good restart by Ben Eizenga in the WestJet stand for Ukraine 07 right there. Got the colors of Ukraine on the front half of the 07, trying to go for the race lead. They almost make contact there coming out of turn number 2, but Poole's going to clear the 07. First side-by-side battle with a couple of cars back. There is Lupe Gonzalez and John Cannizzaro Jr. still battling with one another. We saw them battling just before the stage caution, and now Lupe Gonzalez to the inside of J.D. Laird, as Laird trying to use that high line to try and get a run to it. Laird says, you know what, I'm going to back out here, let Lupe up in front, very gentlemanly here, as we're still early in the race. We're still about 23 laps away from cross flags.
Plenty of time to go here, Peter, but that nice 25 left green flag run was certainly a blessing. I didn't expect that after watching these guys practice. I thought these guys were going to be even more out of control than normal here at Darlington. So this is tremendous racing, and I see a little bit of give and take out there as we look a little bit further back in the field here at the 14. Yeah,
and I'm not sure what's happened back here. Let me see if I can figure out what might have happened. Because I'm seeing that one of our big movers of the race so far, Mike Toe, David Harvey in the wall. David Harvey in the wall again. Dave Harvey in the wall again in that number 77. Really struggling, and now half spinning, still half spinning, now really spinning, and now stuck in the wall. And we're still green. Can you believe this? Someone needs to, and there's the yellow. My goodness, someone needs to give that flagman a shot of adrenaline. Did not have him, but unfortunately our winner last week at Bristol Motor Speedway getting involved in an accident here with Robert Tripp. Oh, let's see if we can get a better angle of that. There's the better angle. Gets the wall off turn number 2 here. Bounces off it once. Bounces off it again. Bounces off it again. Bounces off it again. Then there's contact between the 35 and the 77. 77 not able to control it. Back up the wall. And then we were still green flag racing. So that was kind of crazy. But one thing I was going to mention, something must have happened to Mike Tellier and Alonso Chicano, because those two drivers, Garrett, appear to have a lot of damage. And I'm going to see if we can figure out what all happened to those drivers. I do not know.
I can comment on the 95, Peter. From what I was told from race control, he was parked for intentional wrecking. Some contact he had potentially with the 15 car. Now the 97, I don't know. That will require some investigation on your part.
Interesting. Okay, so let's see if we can go back and see. This is what happened here. This says Alonso Chicano in the number 95, and some contact right there, and then just came to a complete halt there on the front stretch, and left the racetrack in a hurry. Sure, if he was exactly what was going on there. That was contact with the number 60 machine. Sorry, we're missing our lucky dog. Exactly sure who the lucky dog is going to be. Be Brady Todd. But there was contact with the number 15 of Brady Todd, sporting number 60 on that car there. But now I'm trying to figure out what happened to Mike Floppy Tellier. See if we can see what happened. Let's see, is Tellier still good at this point? Yeah, he's still good at that point. So, this might tell us a story. Coming onto pit road, locked up. Oh, Mike! Oh. That was under the first round of yellow flag pit stops under the stage caution. And that did not go well for Tellier. Now with a lot of damage. Back to live scenes now as we're under this caution flag. See the iRacing pace car lights turn off. And looks like they will stay on for another lap. So this is our second caution flag of the night here. Keith Carball might be our lucky dog here under this caution, Garrett. I don't know if he was the lucky dog under the first one. And of course, not only is it the lucky dog, it's the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award. We've given out 2 tonight. We missed the first one in when we were talking to JT Poole, but I think it might be Keith Carball under this particular caution in the number 29 machine. Of course, we're taking count of the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award standings, Garrett.
Did we name the dog yet, Peter? Have our fans named the dog? If not, I'm going to start calling him Jimbo, because at least that name will be good for something.
At least the name will be good for something. That's right. Of course, Jimbo in the chat. Ryder Lehangle saying that's an interesting way to crash, just sliding underneath another car. Stay Tuned Sports saying, I don't feel bad. That was me this past weekend practicing. Yeah, Jimbo, we need you out there in one of these cars. It'd be great to have you in any of the 3 wide TV races that we broadcast. Hopefully we get to see you out there at some point, because we really do appreciate you in the chat and watching here on 3 Wide TV as pace car lights have turned off. We're getting set to go. Matt, green flag racing in just a lap from right now. Green flag will come on lap number 39. JT Poole on the outside, Ben Eizenga on the inside. Then you got row number 2 with the number 99 right there. That is a Ninja Phil. Only led 19 laps in his total on-stop racing BagcraftCornhole.com career. Maybe he can make that 20 here tonight. Then John Canizaro, Lupe Gonzalez, and the number 46 that you see right there, the hot rod, J.D. Laird. Third driver on the outside line. Going to be a good restart upcoming. Hopefully we stay green for a little bit here, Garrett, as looks like the iRacing or league officials have extended the caution. So the iRacing pace car lights have turned back on. And I think I'm right. I think it is Keith Carball under this particular caution flag. And I think that will give him the lead, if I remember correctly, Garrett, in the standings, the Polyhedral Cathedral Luckiest Lucky Dog Award standings. He was tied with James Arello and Vincent Valvano and Brady Todd at the beginning of the night, unless... No, I think Brady Todd got a lucky dog at some point in the number 60. Could be wrong, the number 15 has number 60 on that car. So maybe Keith Carball and Brady Todd both now have 3 apiece on the season. I don't know. We'll have to go and check out what iRacing has to say at the end of the race. But pretty cool that Polyhedral Cathedral is handing out a prize at the end of the season for the luckiest lucky dog, a driver who accrues the most lucky dog awards over the TNR season.
Yeah, I really appreciate Polyhedral Cathedral, and they're actually sponsoring the next race at Talladega, so I'm sure Bob's going to be out there on track in the number 23 Polyhedral Cathedral machine. And we'll be rooting him on from the booth. I guess you're stuck with me for 2 weeks, and we'll see how many lucky dogs people get next week, as well as the rest of this race here, Peter. It's a cool thing. They're going to get a little prize at the end, so there's no shame in going a lap down the season. So that's what at least what I tell myself.
And the producer didn't tell me I'm stuck with you next week as well. Anyway, green flag is back out, and JT Poole up there at the front of the field gets another good restart. As he's been able... hold that thought for a moment, because these two got close. John Cannizzaro up into second. Ben Eizenga sliding back to third, and J.D. Laird has taken advantage. He's now up to fourth, plus 17 spots since the drop of the green flag. He's passed pretty much all of those out there on the racetrack. Now working lap number 40. Just mighty impressive that he's been able to do that in a relatively short period of time before the back half of the race. Some other drivers working their way forward. We mentioned these two drivers as well. The one of Jason Gracias, the number 21 of Cam Caldwell. They're now up into 8th and 9th. There is the Bagcraft number 1 of Jason Gracias, that Toyota Supra, the purple Toyota Supra that you saw there just a moment ago. There is Gracias in 8th spot, plus 15 from the drop of the green flag earlier tonight. Vincent Valvano, good showing for him. He had a little bit of a moment earlier in the race, but so far, Garrett, the number 64 Bagcraft Ford Mustang is nice and clean. No real damage on it.
Well, Peter, we almost jinxed a little further up in the field there by putting the camera on Vinny. I think that was Bill Edwards in the American Oil machine. But Vincent Valvano has run well here historically. If I remember my experience with him in the Truck Series, I think he got a top 10 here. And Vinny's one of those guys that we've talked about before that he just gets a little bit better each lap that he makes at these tracks. And he's one of those guys that maybe not this season, but by next season, if he gets enough experience, he's going to start winning some races, and we got to keep our eye on him. But these guys, throw blanket on them. They're all on top of each other, Peter.
Yeah, and one thing to mention about Vincent Valvano, Garrett, he's a very competitive person. Very competitive, especially at Madden. Has gone and competed at Madden tournaments as well. There's a video out there on YouTube. You can look up Vincent Valvano and find that YouTube video. It talks through some of the Madden tournaments that he's been to. So he is a competitor here and definitely knows how to get a good result in that number 64 machine. Had some really good results in the last wee bit here on 3 Wide TV, and we hope to see that continue over this season. Currently, Vincent Valvano in the point standings coming into tonight. Maybe not exactly where he'd want to be, but only has 2 starts to his name, sitting down in the 28th position in points. Does have 1 provisional to his name. But that number 64 here tonight, creeping in on a top 10. Started in 13th, now running in 11th. Back up towards the front of the field, though, Ben Eizenga is right in front of J.D. Laird. And here comes J.D. Laird with a look to the inside, Garrett.
Oh, wow, Peter. That made me nervous watching that. Oh, yep, there's an issue. J.D. Laird, I think he's going to save it, but, man, that got real intense real quick, Peter. These guys not giving each other... I'm not going to say that. Let me rephrase. There's not much room to give someone when it comes to racing at Darlington. Let's see what happens here.
So this is going back a half lap or so as they went off into turn number 3 and 4. Laird got underneath Ben Eizenga. And then as they headed down the front straight, you can see Laird ducked back in behind the 07. And, this actually might have been a lap or two before because that's not the right moment in time. Let's see if we can go back, maybe... Here, this should tell us the story of what happened. This must have been one lap later. As the 46 looked to the inside right there, they almost made contact. Good job there by J.D. Laird to not make contact. Then there was a little bit of contact. I think the number 99, Philip Scott, might have given him a little bit of a hip check. And all things considered, Garrett, yeah, J.D. Laird's going to lose a couple of spots. He's down to 8th. But the number 46 still isn't a torn-up race car. That number 46 comes into tonight 5th place in points. Needs another good showing. David Harvey, who is our points leader in the number 77, has had his troubles. And looks like the number 77 is on the back of a flat ped. And we'll be going no further as Jason Freeman there at the top of the screen has a big wiggle. That's going to allow the number 64, Vincent Valvano, to look to the inside, not able to complete the pass. He's still going to stay in 11th. J.D. Laird trying to climb up through the field as they catch number 15 of Brady Todd, who is off the pace. Looks like J.D. Laird gets around Cam Caldwell as, man, Bill Edwards really driving it in here tight as we're now 10 laps away from the end of stage number 2.
Yeah, I think if you're J.D. Laird here, you just want to get to the stage break. You'll go into the pits, you'll lick your wounds, get that damage pulled out, and you're going to still be in contention to win this race. So no need to jeopardize that and do anything risky here in these next 10 laps. Just bring her home to the checkered flag. Right now, you're still going to get 2 stage points, and we'll go from there. As it looks like there's a good 3-person battle ahead of him that he's watching.
Yep, and one of those drivers in that battle is the number 1 of Jason Gracias, who makes the move here on Lupe Gonzalez. So move Jason now up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight, plus 18 spots from the drop of the green flag. Very impressive out of him as well. JT Poole, speaking of impressive though, Garrett, look at this gap. 2 seconds from JT Poole back to John Cannizzaro Jr. JT is checking out here tonight at the Darlington Raceway. That gap growing ever bigger, now just 8 laps away from sweeping the 2 stages here tonight. And we haven't seen it so far this season, Garrett, where one driver has swept the 2 stages and the win. We've had a photo finish in all of the races that we've had this season. We had a photo finish at Bristol, we had a photo finish at Rockingham, photo finish at Daytona. Maybe we'll see another one here tonight.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to put the commentator's curse on JT Poole for that to happen, so we look like we have yellow on the racetrack, Peter.
Caution flag is out. Let's see if we can see what happened. Hearing that it might have involved Jason Freeman in the number 20. Let's see if we can see what happened here. Oh man. Oh, right into Kyle Zimmer. Nowhere for Kyle to go. But that's an odd one. Not sure if there was any contact there on the entry of the corner or whether or not just Freeman got loose. Then we got another look from on board the Mason-Dixon Racing number 20 machine. Goes into the corner here and, just follows the 21 of Cam Caldwell up into the wall. Bounces off the wall and just not able to quite control it. Now, we are also hearing that there might have been another incident out there on the racetrack that might have happened around the same time the caution flag actually flew. Potentially involving the number 15 of Brady Todd. Yeah, right there, all by himself. Not sure, Garrett, if he tried to start to slow down for the caution, because I think the caution was already out at that instance. But looks like the number 15 of Brady Todd, his night will go no further. Tough break for him. Drivers coming down pit road now. Some drivers staying out, some drivers coming down pit road. There is Lupe Gonzalez, one of those drivers who did elect to come down here. And interestingly enough, Garrett, I'm not sure if this is going to count as the stage caution or not. I think it will, because the cautions have been kind of long here tonight. So I'm not sure if you have any ruling on that or can confirm whether or not it is a stage break or not, but very close to the stage break. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, Peter. I think I think he might let them go back green here. I think he usually says it's 5 laps or less. So last week, I know I was in charge, and I made the decision to kind of go a little bit further than that, and there's some people mad about that. So if I know Jason, he's probably going to go by the books here, and we're going to have a little bit of a shootout. But I will try to confirm at race control here.
Okay, well, if we get a little bit of a shootout, we'll see the iRacing pace car lights are staying on. And that could be very interesting if we do get that couple of lap shootout, because we'll have some drivers who literally just pitted and then some drivers who didn't. And that could be... Go ahead.
So I just got confirmation for race control that was not the stage break, and we are going to go back green here for a brief shootout to lap 60.
Okay, very interesting. Robert Tripp is our Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award winner under this particular caution. There he is in the number 35 machine, of course, sporting the mellow yellow scheme. Not sure. I'm guessing that is, a scheme from Days of Thunder, although Kyle Petty also ran a very, very similar mellow yellow scheme in the past as well. But I've always liked the looks of that mellow yellow scheme. I could go for some mellow yellow right now, actually. It sounds kind of yummy. So the iRacing pace car lights stay on. We'll see if the flagman gives them the 1-to-go signal this time. And if so... we'll be looking at a 4-lap shootout, and looks like we're going to get a 4-lap shootout, assuming they can get all lined up. Garrett, JT Poole looks like the man to beat so far, but things are going to be interesting after this stage, especially with some of the drivers that just pitted.
Peter, this might get crazy here, and as a league administrator, as a former series director, this makes me nervous. Because you have guys out there on different strategies, different mentalities. Is somebody going to just run somebody over to get these stage points here? And we've had such a good race so far. I'd hate to see that happen. But in the back of my mind, that's what makes me nervous about this, Peter.
Well, you're nervous. I'm sure a lot of the drivers down there are nervous as well. So we'll see if it all shakes out in a nervous fashion here shortly. Cam Caldwell in the number 21 is the first driver, one or more laps down. Looks like Cam will be getting the next Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog unless something happens here very shortly. Green flag back out. An early start for JT Poole. That outside line gets going. And, Ben Eizenga really struggling to get going in the number 07 machine. He's just losing tons of positions as John Eckhart IV goes around the outside. We got one car, Kevin Stone in the outside wall bouncing off, and that is going to cause a lot of congestion here in the mid-pack. Look at Kevin Stone in the wall again. Lupe Gonzalez in the wall again. Cars scattering everywhere here as we have just 4 laps until the stage caution.
Man, if this is what we're getting going to the stage break, imagine what it's going to be like on lap 110, Peter. This is crazy. And going back to that restart, I think Jason Grassi in the number 1 cut his friend Ben Eizenga a break there by not running him over. That was just 2 veterans taking care of each other, understanding the tire spin on the restart.
That has allowed J.D. Laird to get back up into the 4th spot as well, trying to pick up as many stage points as he can, as we'll just have 2 laps until we'll see our 4th yellow flag of the night here. Philip Scott in the outside wall, scraping off some right side graphics on the number 99 machine. Nothing he can do to catch the number 26 at JT Poole, it appears, as Poole continuing to scoot away, now up to about a half-second lead. Very, very impressive here tonight by the number 26. And caution flag is in the air. Not sure what this caution flag is for. Looking around the racetrack, not necessarily seeing anything. Yeah, this is going to potentially be what I'd call a ghost yellow.
Yeah, we'll go with that for now, Peter. It's I guess that's a good news for our guys. We don't want anybody getting in an accident out there, so maybe just a fan or something ran onto the track, or Johnny Williams spun again. I guess you never know.
Let's see. I know that Vincent Valvano lost a couple of spots. Make sure that he was okay. Maybe someone having a half spin or something like that. Kevin Stone got in the outside wall there. And the caution flag is out. So another thing that we can do, folks, is we can kind of go back and see if we can time this and see if we can see the exact moment that the caution flag came out. And sometimes that can be helpful to determine exactly what all went down. This, of course, will count as the stage caution. And I just don't see anything that would have brought out the yellow, to be perfectly honest with you, Garrett. I'm just looking out there on the racetrack, and I'm seeing nothing. Absolutely nothing out there. So maybe this was an admin thrown caution. I don't know if you can report on that or not, but yeah, I don't see anything. Meanwhile, pretty much all your leaders are on pit road with JT Poole down. We did have a couple of drivers who stayed out because they pitted under the caution just before this one. We'll update you on that, but JT Poole will be the first driver off of pit road. So, Garrett, any clue what that caution flag might have been for?
Well, Peter, I'm investigating that right now. Might have just been a slip of the old mouse button for our good friend, the sheriff, Justin White. Maybe some kind of internet issue, and that was just a stage break. Maybe it came a lap too early. Some people are premature at certain things they do, and I guess Justin White's just one of those people, Peter.
Justin White having premature problems. You heard it here first. Here on 3YTV. We'll see if he chimes up in the chat. But nonetheless, it is a stage break, and that will give us just about 50 laps to go when we go back. Green flag. James Arello, however, Garrett pitted under the previous caution flag just before this. Came down pit road, got a fresh set of tires on lap number 53. So his tires are a little bit older than a couple of cars behind. But now, importantly, he has track position. Same thing with Bill Edwards, Tristan Thuggy Maher, Stephen Doziak Jr., the top four drivers, all pitted on lap number 53 to 54. But fifth place on back just came down pit road. So a couple lap fresher tires for JT Poole and company, which is usually important here at this particular racetrack. But track position also very important. Just looking at my live timing and scoring to see if Cam Caldwell got his lap back. Don't believe he did, because he's off the racetrack. So looks like Mike Tellier in the number 97 is our Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award winner under this caution flag. There is Mike. Missing that hood after impaling the water barrels, sand barrels, whatever they are, at the end of pit road under our first stage caution. Definitely something to forget for the Canadian driver hailing from Sarnia, Ontario, as had a hot-looking hot rod here tonight, now kind of sporting, I guess, a little bit more of the hot rod looks on that number 97 with the hood off. You see all into the engine compartment. But Tellier gets one of his laps back. That's good news, I guess.
Yeah, that's good news. And Mike's been having some tremendous runs. He just won the Upper Edge Racing Super Speedway Series race last night. He's been running fantastic in this series. He's been doing a tremendous job spotting for me over at NSRA. And one bad race isn't going to kill Mike. He's on the roll, and head to Talladega next week. I look for him to rebound, but he'll be able to get his laps back if we keep this pace up. So he'll move up those standings for the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award.
Yeah, currently being scored one lap down in the number 97 machine. iRacing pace car lights have turned off. We'll get set to go back green here on lap number 64 over the halfway mark in the Jason Schue Racing 110. Jason is currently running back in the 18th position. But the green flag waves. Lorello with wheel spin. Bill Edwards with a bunch of wheel spin. And all of your leaders, 7-lap-old tires spinning their wheels. Bill Edwards somehow able to come away as the race leader. Tristan Thuggy Maher in the 17 going toe-to-toe with the number 55 of Stephen Doziak Jr. Doze on the high side as JT Poole trying to work on by to the inside line, side by side down the backstretch. Look at this snake of drivers as they head towards turn number 3 and 4.
Is that Stephen Doziak in the top 5, Peter? Wow, that's kind of crazy to see, and he's holding his own there with some fast cars. The guys on newer tires, they're battling with them, but that restart was pretty intense. And just for our viewers, Peter, maybe you could talk a little bit about wheel spin, why it happens, what you could do to prevent it.
Well, wheel spin is exactly what it sounds like. It's when your wheels are spinning when they shouldn't be, when they're not gripping with the racetrack like they should. So you get an extra spin out of your tires, you have too much power, and you lose grip. And when you lose grip, the cars get sideways. They kind of do what dragsters do up there on the starting line, and they're very difficult to handle. And as JD Laird is able to get by Ben Eizenga now, and JD reigns in 7th as we cycle through this particular run. But, man, you got wheel spin here on these racetracks, especially when you are restarting, when the track temperature is really high, and, of course, when you're restarting, that's a lot of power immediately to the racetrack. You don't have a lot of downforce pushing the car down into the track, which of course helps wheel spin, as James Arello throws a late block on JD Laird into turn number 1. That was a very late block, and I think Laurello's going to have to pay for that on his older tires here. Third turns number 1 and 2 almost clips the wall. Ben Eizenga going to squeak on by. Laurello's strategy definitely not looking like the right call when he pitted a couple of laps earlier. Here, Garrett, this racetrack can be really punishing on tires, and it looks like he is sliding back through the field, much like you slide when you have that wheel spin. But man, it got a lot of drivers out of shape, and currently Laurello sliding well back through the field. Bill Edwards, on the other hand, he has had that clean air on the nose, giving a little bit extra downforce to the number 50 machine, and he's currently our race leader still. JT Poole in the 26, who's been the leader for a majority of the race here tonight. He now rides in second, but is closing in on the race lead as they run. As we're now working lap number 69 of 110. Edwards, man, Garrett, flirting with that outside wall.
Bill's doing a tremendous job, Peter. I'm just in awe, actually, that he's been able to hold off JD for this long, especially on a different tire strategy. But Bill's a wheel man. He'll put that number 50 machine in whatever place it needs to be to run the fastest laps it can, and he's doing a tremendous job. And this could pay off for him in the long run if he could keep some track position after all this.
We got Bill Edwards' family in the chat here rooting him on as he looks now around the outside. JT Poole on the inside line. John Cannizzaro Jr. starting to close in on the battle for the race lead. The Windsor's rooting on Bill. We got KJ22697 in the chat as well. Welcome on in. Thanks for joining us here on 3Wide TV, the Jason Schue Racing 110 here in the Total Nonstop Racing League BagcraftCornhole.com Grand National Series. Let's see, John Cannizzaro closing in on these top three, and Garrett, I think Bill Edwards at this point trying to do all he can to hold off JT Poole, but Poole has just been so fast here tonight. I think it's just a matter of time before that 26 scoots on by. But Cannizzaro sneaking into the picture says, you know what, I want to bite off of this battle for the lead. If he can get around JT Poole, might be able to make things a little bit more interesting here tonight as Poole gets a huge run off of turn number 4. Can he full level with Bill Edwards into turn number 1? Edwards not backing down. Man, almost getting into the outside wall as they go toe-to-toe. And that's hard to do through turns number 1 and 2 here, Garrett. And someone's going to have to back out there in turn number 2. It was Bill Edwards, JT Poole. I won't call him the new race leader, but the race leader once again.
That was a tremendous battle there between Bill Edwards and JT Poole, and John Cannizzaro lurking there as well. But JT had to force the issue with Cannizzaro sneaking up there, and Bill respectfully raced him, and hopefully later on in the race, JT will do the same for Bill if he gets in that same position. As we look at this, what was the battle for the lead becoming the battle for second place with 5 cars side by side, front to back.
Yeah, John Cannizzaro Jr. just got around Bill Edwards. Now Philip Scott in the number 99 machine having a look to the inside of the American Oil number 50 of Edwards. JD Laird right on the back bumper of Philip Scott. Some good racing here towards the front of the field. There's also a big group of drivers. Remember, Garrett, how you said, is that Steven Doziak Jr. inside the top 5? Well, not anymore. Doze has even fallen outside of the top 10 as he has slid back to 11th spot, battling there with Kyle Zimmer. Right behind Kyle Zimmer is his teammate, was right behind him. That's the number 24 sign around the machine, Fernando Matos. Matos there in his Ford Mustang, losing a couple of positions and not get a good run out of turn number 2 at all. Fernando slides down to 16th spot as, something's happened to Doze. Doze is off the pace and to the low side of the racetrack, and things all going south for the Bagcraft number 55 right now, down to 17th.
Well, Doze, you gave it your best, bud. I think it's time to take that number 55 to the garage, all right? Nothing to be ashamed of. Just park it and save it for next week.
The rivalry between Steven Doziak Jr. and Garrett Gleason up here alongside my special guest in the booth here, the commish, as he's known, G-Money as well. But we got this good battle for third. Bill Edwards, Philip Scott, third and fourth. J.D. Laird, Ben Eizenga right back behind him. As things just starting to maybe settle out just a little bit here at the Darlington Raceway. Big dive to the inside by Philip Scott. And, I'm a bit surprised Philip's doing that, Garrett. Here at this racetrack, I don't often see people make a pass on entry into the corner if you're that far back. Here at Darlington, you have to focus on your exits off the corner. Get a good run up off the corner, motor alongside with the car in front of you. That's when you go to the inside of the racetrack. But let's see if Philip Scott dives down to the inside in turn number 3 and 4 here. Not so much this time. He's going to stay right up behind him. Look at him. He's getting really close. He's getting really close. He's going to get that run off turn number 4. I think had Bill Edwards migrated to the bump side of the racetrack a little bit, that would have been a clean pass. Meanwhile, shock up at the front of the field. John Cannizzaro says, hey, JT Poole has led a majority of this race. I'm going to stink up his show here and battle for the race lead as a 26 and the 12 now, duking it out here as we're closing in on about 30 laps to go.
Wow, you think Cannizzaro was smart enough to not show his hand at the beginning of the race, Peter? Like, all of a sudden, John Cannizzaro looks like he's faster than JT Poole as he makes the pass heading off there here into... That's what, Peter, what turn is that? I can't tell. This egg-shaped track, I'm all confused. I'm not professional. I haven't been up here in the booth with you in a couple months, and JT actually held on there.
That'd be turn number 1 and 2 there, Garrett. I know it's an egg-shaped track. Maybe you have an egg-shaped head. I don't know.
I do, actually.
Well, there you go, folks. You heard it here. Garrett Gleason has an egg-shaped head. Can't figure out what an egg-shaped track is, though. JT Poole, John Cannizzaro, and I'm just wondering, Garrett, I'm seeing a little bit of right front damage on the number 26 machine. I know he said he got a Darlington stripe earlier in the race when we talked to him under the first stage caution. He might have got a little bit more of that outside wall, and that could be affecting his downforce and causing him to have a couple of handling issues. That John Cannizzaro, who on the flip side looks like he has a very clean Ford Mustang in that number 12 with that throwback look. I'm wondering if that's just going to give an advantage to Cannizzaro as the lap count winds down. Still, Bill Edwards riding in third. Can mention that that Ben Eizenga, there's Ben in the 07, stand with Ukraine on the side of his Chevy Camaro, now looking to get around the 50 of Bill Edwards, and Edwards going to let his Silent Syndicate Racing teammate on by nice and easily. As now look at this. Here, we thought we had a 2-car battle for the race lead. Now Ben Eizenga says he wants a piece of it, and now we got more action back behind as J.D. Laird's looking to get around as, Cannizzaro getting really tight on entry into turn number 1. This is some great stuff. Lap count winding down. Battle for the race lead here at Darlington.
Peter, I'm glad I'm not out there because these guys are doing a great job without me, and they're racing with such respect and such professionalism out there. It's great to see as a league. And we have 5 really talented guys up here racing for this lead. And I'm just looking back at the 99 of Philip Scott. He finally got by Bill Edwards. He has to be licking his chops trying to get to this lead. Thinks he can win this race, especially with the struggles at the 26 and 7. I understand he's still leading the race, and I'm saying he's struggling. But compared to the 3-second lead he had before, he's definitely not there with his car at this point.
Jonathan Cogswell in the chat, jumping on in, enjoying some of this action here as Ben Eizenga now looking to the inside of Cannizzaro, not able to do so. And that's what we have seen there, Garrett. You make that lunge off into turn number 3, and you just really can't make the pass. You have to set someone up on exit here at Darlington. That is the way you make a pass. Oh, something's happened to Bill Edwards. Edwards is on pit road. Perhaps a scheduled pit stop for fuel here. And this could open up the pit window and the pit cycle here, Garrett. I thought that maybe we were just a little bit short, perhaps, when making it to the end of the race on just that last stop. But Edwards going to come down to his pit box. But look at this battle out there on the racetrack as we click over to 26 laps to go. Cannizzaro to the inside. Got that good run off of turn number 4. Ben Eizenga tucked up underneath him. Can Eizenga use this opportunity to get to the outside of Cannizzaro? Doesn't look like Cannizzaro is still holding tough on the inside. Eizenga going to make a 3-wide action on 3-wide TV as we head down the backstretch. You don't see that here very often at Darlington. Eizenga has to back out of it, and that's allowing Philip Scott, the number 99, has led only 19 laps. We heard that stat earlier in the night. Only 19 laps in his total nonstop racing league, Bagcraft Cornhole.com Grand National Series career. He's starting to mix it up with these drivers. 25 laps to go. We mentioned it at the top of the show, Garrett, that this racetrack is difficult to pass at. We're seeing that right now as JT Poole has a line of cars lined up behind him.
Yeah, at this point, John Cannizzaro's got to be thinking, I'm faster than JT is. I just can't pass him. Kind of like what we saw with JT and Bill Edwards. Bill Edwards was on older tires. There's no reason he should have been able to hold on to that lead. Yet with how difficult this track is to pass and how good of a driver Bill Edwards is, Bill was able to hold on for a bunch of laps. And that's what we're seeing here with JT and John. So pit strategy is going to come into play here, Peter. These guys cannot afford to stay out too long on the old tires now that Bill Edwards and others are going to be taking on fresh tires, so we'll see what happens.
Kevin Stone just got around Jamar Dumas for the 12th spot. Vincent Valvano also just got past Kyle Zimmer for the 9th position. So we mentioned Valvano very good here at Darlington, again showing his muscle in the top 10 as Cannizzaro with a good of a run as I have seen from the number 12. Looks to the inside, not able to do anything with it here. Again, has to jump back in line. But the big question that I have, Garrett, is do we think these drivers are good all the way on fuel as Cannizzaro shows a little bit of a block to Ben Eizenga as the 07. Is he going to try and do the crossover move? JT pulls in the wall. Poole there caught the wall through turn number 3, and that's allowed this battle behind him to maybe crunch up just a little bit more. Hopefully they don't end up all crunched up in the outside wall as J.D. Laird has come down pit road 22 laps to go. That might be an indication that we might see more of these drivers down pit road here in a hurry because of fuel concerns. Anyone going to come down pit road this time? Does not look like it. But tires matter here, and Garrett, once J.D. Laird gets out there, if these other drivers have to cycle on through, the fresher tires are going to be a big advantage for the number 46 machine of J.D. Laird as he heads back out there onto the racing surface as we continue to watch this stellar race for the lead.
Yeah, these guys have been battling, and cars like Lupe Gonzalez, Tristan Maher are making their way up into the running order here as we see Ben Eizenga diving down pit road. But you can't afford to stay out on the old tires here, Peter. J.D. Laird has pretty much forced these guys' hand to come down pit road, so I would not be surprised to see JT Poole, John Cannizzaro, and others on the pit road for the next 1 or 2 laps. Yeah,
honestly, I'm a bit surprised here. You know, this is what you call the undercut, the overcut. The overcut is when you stay out longer than everyone else and it gives you an advantage. The undercut here at Darlington, in my opinion, is a huge advantage. And now John Cannizzaro Jr. going to peel off of the racetrack to come down. Like Philip Scott also coming down. Dougie Maher is going way wide. He's going to be able to rein it back in there and get it slowed down in that number 17, which is a throwback, I think, to the Matt Kenseth era, I believe, of the Roush days. I think
Crown Royal, yep. Crown Royal throwback.
Crown Royal throwback. But now JT's coming down pit road, so he saw everyone else come down pit road, and he's been struggling. I'm a bit surprised he didn't come down pit road earlier with the fact that he has been struggling. Maybe he was expecting a caution flag, but wow, that was a really good pit road entry by the 26 machine. JT Poole nailed that pit road entry, hugging that inside wall perfectly. We'll see if that helps him out. That was one of the best pit road entries here at Darlington I've seen in a long time. Good job there. Lupe Gonzalez has to deal with some lap traffic. Robert Tripp in front of him. Let's see if the 53 peels off. Indeed, the 53 does. Just looking for any pit road speeding violations. Not necessarily seeing any issues on pit roads. So far, everyone has been nice and clean. But let's look at what's happened. JD Laird is the first driver who has come down onto pit road under this cycle. Currently, quite a ways in front of the likes of John Cannizzaro Jr. There's Cannizzaro, there's Philip Scott, there's Tristan Thuggy Maher. But where is JT Poole? Well, there's JT. JT just now coming up onto the racetrack. There's John Cannizzaro going on by. There's Philip Scott going on by. Yes, JT has one lap fresher tires, but he's going to have to pass those cars. There's 17 laps to go, and catching him is one thing, and passing him is another. We saw that, Garrett, just a little while ago when JT was trying to pass the other way around. Cannizzaro was trying to pass JT Poole. Couldn't do it. Just absolutely could not do it because passing here is so difficult. I really like the undercut strategy that Cannizzaro did. I'm really surprised JT Poole did not pit a little bit sooner to try and defend from the undercut, but if the caution flag came out, things would have gone south as well. That's probably what JT was thinking. But some interesting strategy calls coming to the forefront here as the lap count winds down.
Very interesting, Peter. And like you said, as it was happening live, JT nailed that pit road entry, and he still lost track position because he stayed out on those older tires longer than these other guys. And speaking of staying out on the older tires, Jason Gracias, back from his vacation, figures, I probably can't win this race otherwise without some luck on my side. I'm going to stay out longer than everyone, hope to catch a caution, and then have the freshest tires at the end. Not a bad strategy if you weren't going to contend for the win under green.
Yeah, 15 laps to go. And Gracias, we think he'll have to come down pit road at some point, make it 14 laps to go. But right now, holding on to about a 24-second advantage over JD Laird as looks like not exactly sure what's happened here, folks. There we go. Now we're back. That was odd. I thought maybe my connection had struggled or something, but everything was showing all good on my end. Not exactly sure what happened there. But, yeah, the one of Jason Gracias is the race leader. Kyle Zimmer is in second. Jamar Dumas is in third. But those drivers have yet to pit. First driver who has pitted, and we know they're good to the end on fuel, that would be JD Laird in the number 46. There he is, 13 laps to go. He is being run down by Ben Eizenga in the 07. 2-lap fresher tires for the 07. Then John Cannizzaro Jr. has 3-lap fresher tires than JD Laird, but 13 laps to go. Do we think they have enough time to do it, Garrett?
Well, Peter, you're much more intelligent than I am. I don't know, Peter. That's a pretty big gap, and even back further to like JT Poole, it's what, 4 seconds between him and JD there. So, like you said, getting to them's one thing, passing them's another. And if you waste a couple laps trying to pass a guy, you're really going to run out of time real quick here, as we're just outside 10 to go.
So Eizenga's been catching, and this is going to be huge this lap because I think Laird got held up quite a bit by Jason Freeman there as he lost a half second that last time to Ben Eizenga. Eizenga, who's been averaging about a quarter of a tenth faster than JD Laird. But caution flag is out. Robert Tripp has tripped the yellow flag. Let's see if we can see what happened to Robert Tripp in the number 35 machine. Multiple laps down, a lot of damage on his Chevy Camaro right in front of the race leader here. That is the number 1 of Jason Gracias. Tripp just gets loose out of turn number 4, pile drives into the inside of the racetrack, and caution flag waves here, and that's going to change the complexion of this race entirely. Huge advantage now for the number 1 of Jason Gracias.
I'm not criticizing Robert Tripp by any means when I say this, Peter, because the last thing you want to do as a car that's laps down with damage is impact the finish of this race. So that's just a tough break for Robert Tripp. I've been there. I've made mistakes too. You just hate to see it happen for us as a league as far as the green flag goes. But like you said, Jason Gracias now, his strategy is going to pay off, we think. We think he's going to come down, get his tires, keep some track position, and potentially be in good shape here with 10 laps to go.
And of course, they do have tire limits here in the Total Nonstop Racing Bagcraft Cornhole.com Grand National Series. So Gracias comes down. Here comes Kyle Zimmer. Kyle Zimmer, who had a breakout night in his first race here at Darlington in the Total Nonstop Racing League. He could potentially put on some new shoes and charge his way through the field. But on the flip side of things, as you see the 28, Jamar Dumas coming down pit road. Jason Schue there in the number 3 at the back. I haven't really focused on Jason Schue here tonight, but Jason is on the lead lap. He's on the same strategy as the one of Jason Gracias. He might charge his way back up through the field there in the Dale Earnhardt-inspired scheme. But going back to what I was going to say, Garrett, is they do have tire limits here in TNR. J.D. Laird, he's out of tire sets, but he will be the race leader, and we'll have probably about a 5-lap shootout. Could have a couple of caution flags. Could have some overtime here in the Total Nonstop Racing League as well. Can't rule that out, as we'll have to watch for some wheel spin on this upcoming restart on some of these drivers with older tires.
I'm just thinking back to a couple of weeks ago, in real-life NASCAR, if you will, and I believe it was Anthony Alfredo came down for fresh tires, and he gained a couple spots, a yellow would come out, he gained a couple more spots, a yellow would come out. That could work to guys like Gracias, Schue, Zimmer, that just came down pit road. If they can get a couple spots here, catch a yellow, re-rack them, and do it again, they could walk home with the checkered flag, or at least a much better finish based on the strategy that they have.
We'll just have to see how it all shakes out. Bob Giaquinto in the chat saying this will change everything. Bob, a very different complexion of the race. We think John Eckhart IV in the number 45 machine is your Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award winner. There is the number 45 Klondike machine. And Garrett, we asked Bob a couple of weeks ago what he'd do for a Klondike bar. Then last week we had Mitchell Adams up here in the 3Y TV booth. He said he would go to Walmart and buy a Klondike bar for a Klondike bar, and I thought that was the worst. I mean, that defeats the question, and not in a good way. Not in a good way. What would you do for a Klondike bar? That's my question.
Well, Peter, if I could get one of those Klondike bars with the Reese's in it, I would potentially be willing to say something nice about John Cannizzaro. That's how much I like those.
Potentially, though. Potentially. We'll leave it at potentially. That's what I'm hearing from that. So keep that in mind, folks. And John, if you're watching the broadcast, don't let that get to your head. He only said potentially. So anyway, we are going to have to re-rack them here for a little bit. Brighterly Angle is saying they hate him because he speaks the truth. Who's speaking the truth? Riderly Angle, who's speaking the truth here tonight on 3 Wide TV? Garrett or myself? Garrett. I'd be surprised if you said Garrett. But I don't know. Maybe. But Garrett, pace car lights are off. That is the truth, which means we should be getting set for a 6-lap shootout. Could be very interesting to see how this first lap or two goes once we go back green flag racing.
Yeah, I think a heavyweight boxing match is going to be similar to what we're going to see here, Peter. I don't think anyone's going to pull any punches. You're going to use people up. You're going to do whatever you can to advance your position forward, and alliances and friendships are going to be out of the window here. I think a lot of guys at this point in the race think they can win this race that may not have thought that 100 laps ago. So we're going to see some aggressive and crazy moves as we're getting ready to go back green here. Do not spin those tires. We got guys on old rubber out there, so let's see what happens.
Green flag back in the air. J.D. Laird already on the loud pedal, went really, really early, and that has allowed him to get a little bit of an advantage. Looks like Ben Eizenga going to slide up into second, John Cannizzaro into third, JT Poole into fourth. That wasn't a good restart for JT Poole. Almost looks like he missed a gear or something trying to come up to speed. He had a pretty good restart, but then all of a sudden started dropping back. Here comes Tristan Thuggy Maher as the front three scoot away. Things going south here for JT Poole as he almost clips the wall through turns number 3 and 4. Meanwhile, side-by-side battle for second. Here comes John Cannizzaro Jr. getting underneath Ben Eizenga. We're 3 wide a little bit further back. Look at this. Gracias on the fresh tires going all the way to the bottom side of the racetrack as JT Poole continuing to slide back. The driver who has led the most laps here all night long started on the pole, sliding now almost back outside the top 10. Gracias on fresher tires. He's now looking to the inside of Kyle Zimmer, also on fresh tires. Good job by Kyle to rocket his way up into 6th spot. Meanwhile, Cannizzaro, Ben Eizenga still battling as Cannizzaro finally coming out on top of that battle. 4 laps to go. JD Laird, your race leader here in the Jason Schue Racing 110, the Total Nonstop Racing League, Bagcraft, Cornhole.com, Grand National Series again. Could we see, for the 4th consecutive week, a photo finish? Gracias in the wall in the back of the picture.
Wow, Peter, that was certainly a pleasure listening to you get all that in there in such a short period of time. You are a true professional. But Jason Gracias, Kyle Zimmer, now they're looking for that yellow, I think, Peter. They want to re-rack these because if not, I don't think they're going to be able to get to the leader here as we have 3 to go.
3 laps to go. Big battle here in the mid-pack. Things kind of all shaking out. Wow. JT Poole now slid back to 15th position. It's contact. JD Laird, big save in the 46 machine. John Cannizzaro Jr. somehow your race leader. They continue to shuffle things out. What all happened? We look away for just a brief moment, and all heck breaks out at the front of the field. How did John Cannizzaro Jr. Let's go back at a quick 3-wide TV replay. How did Cannizzaro get to the race lead? Dove to the inside here of JD Laird. In the 46, Laird gets up into the wall and then gets loose. And then right there comes down the racetrack. Eizenga makes contact and everyone shuffles all over the place. As we'll jump back live now. Live scenes here up at the front of the field. 2 laps to go. John Cannizzaro Jr. all by himself up there at the front of the pack. Lupe Gonzalez has got up into 2nd. Ben Eizenga in the 3rd. White flag waving here, believe it or not, at Darlington.
Peter, you need to take a nap after this, bud. You are out of breath, and this has been so intense and so crazy. John Cannizzaro going to sneak away with a win, kind of like Alex Bowman. I wouldn't say he backed into it. He definitely deserves it, but this is going to be quite the win for John Cannizzaro as we're watching a battle, the only battle really in the top 5 between Jason Gracias and Thuggy Maher. As John Cannizzaro comes out of turn 4 and the flagman has the flag in his hand, and the Texaco Havoline Stay Tuned Sports Throwback wins. Oh, we have a wreck, Peter.
JD Laird gets put around in turn number 4 and crashes here on the front straight. And that is just an absolute disaster of a night for JD Laird after having such a fast hot rod. Let's see if we can see what happened to JD Laird. Spins out, gets contact there with the 13 of Lorello, and just absolutely put into the inside wall. Let's see, you get another look and see if we can see what happened here. Lorello in the number 13 just gets up to the number 46 and might have rubbed him just a little bit. That door was opening, but don't think there was enough room there to really make a pass, but it is the last lap. So that will be an interesting review. I'm curious to know what comes of that. But John Cannizzaro Jr. is your race winner here on the front stretch, doing burnouts. Wow, another wild night. Not a photo finish, Garrett, but one that really had to keep everyone on their toes all the way to the checkered flag.
That was a tremendous race, and just hats off to everybody in the field tonight. I mean, we had a couple incidents there, a couple things we probably need to clean up, but great battles, great respect given, give and take. But Peter, I just have a confession to make. I've been feeling so great in my life. I'm positive, I'm happy, and John Cannizzaro winning this race kind of sucked the life out of me. So I don't know if I'm even going to be able to continue on for the rest of the broadcast.
Now, unless there's a Klondike bar in front of your face, which I doubt there is, you can't say anything nice to him.
I won't. Don't worry.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Unless there's Klondike on the table. John Eckhart, not sure if you have something standing around. Now, JT Poole, this is the same story every single week, Garrett. JT Poole and JD Laird, fastest two cars in the field. In practice, racing really, really well. JT finishes 17th tonight, JD Laird 18th tonight. It's been the same story every single week. JT and JD need to find a little bit of consistency like John Cannizzaro found here tonight at the end of the night. And likely, John Cannizzaro will be walking away as your new points leader after Darlington with this race win. Let's see if we can go over and pick up a couple of these drivers for some post-race interviews. Cannizzaro, Gonzalez, and Eizenga. Definitely going to be fun to hear their thoughts on tonight's 110 lap event. Just need to find Lupe. Usually Lupe Gonzalez is in here, and I'm not seeing him here tonight, Garrett. So let's see if we can start with our third place finisher, Ben Eizenga. Garrett, take it away with Ben Eizenga.
Ben Eizenga, Garrett up in the booth. It was nice seeing a Ukraine-inspired paint scheme on your number 07 out there tonight. Just tell us a little bit about your race and how you brought her home in third.
Hey, Garrett. Yeah, just a long one. I feel like I had a much faster car than I kind of got results for, but that's the way it is sometimes. Third place isn't bad, especially the season I've had. So, just kind of one that was kind of nice to finish.
Well, yeah, there's a couple guys, JT Poole for one, JD Laird for another, who were up front all night, and they certainly didn't get the type of finish that you did. But tell us a little bit about how the track drove. We didn't see the transition that we expected into the darkness, but did the track cool down any? How was the grip level out there?
I think it cooled down a pretty significant amount kind of in the last part of the second stage there leading into the last stage. I noticed a pretty good grip change, especially in kind of that third run. And my tires were not fading nearly as much as they were in the first couple runs. So, it got a little bit faster. It was a lot easier to control the cars on cold and hot tires. That last restart, I didn't spin near as much as I did during the second stage there.
So you said you were happy with this third place finish. Nothing to sneeze at, that's for sure. Headed to Talladega next week. Complete wild card. Do you have any thoughts going into that, strategy-wise, teammate-wise? What are your plans?
S2R has been pretty strong at super speedways in the past. We'll see.
Well, it's not, you're not killing enough time with that answer, but we'll accept it. But before we let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give, and just congratulations on third place?
Yeah, S2R, of course, my teammates Bill and James. Those guys certainly didn't get the runs that they deserved tonight either. Everybody on the car, USTRL Sim Racing, you guys for broadcasting these races, you do an awesome job. Garrett and Jason for running this league, you guys do an awesome job as well. So,
all right, Ben, thanks. We'll see you next week, bud. And I believe Peter Short's catching up with, I don't know, whatever his name is, the guy that won the race. Who cares?
Yes, you're right, Garen. I am catching up with the guy whose name, I don't know. I think I forget what his name is. Something like Wild Child or something like that. John Cannizzaro Jr. in victory lane here tonight. Left it late with a late race pass for the lead on JT Poole. We saw you absolutely hounding him. Tried the undercut, came out in front of him, held on, got that pass on JD Laird there late, and then all chaos broke out behind you. Scooted away for the checkered flag. Talk us through it.
Probably one of the best burnouts I've ever done. I want to put that out there. That's pretty. Finally got to do it at Darlington. Probably one of my least favorite tracks in the whole freaking schedule of iRacing. But the battle with JT, as frustrating as that is when you're in the same voice call as him and you really want him to move and you know you can't wreck him, I think it was a pretty good race. Me and him put on a good show, hopefully. He's a great driver. He's better than me, and just unfortunately got a bad turn on the cards. But then the final restart came out, and I say a miracle. You can call it whatever you want. Mickey Mouse win. A win is a win to me, and better tires, I guess. I don't know if I hit JD on turn one. If I did, I'm sorry. And other than that, it was just smooth sailing.
Well, a good win for you. You were kind of up there inside the top 5 for most of the night, but some interesting strategy calls out there, some odd timed caution flags. How did you manage the race tonight?
Other than the stage cautions, that last one where I undercut JT, he told me if I undercut him, I might have a chance to get out in front of him, so I'd stop getting stuck behind him. Because he had damage, I do believe, after running into Maher, and it worked. Thankfully, the caution came out, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten anywhere near those guys up front, and thankfully guys in the back didn't have enough time with those new tires to come up. So strategy, I guess you can say, was a little off what other people did, but I think it worked out good.
Well, great race for you here tonight. Next week we go to Dega. What are your thoughts about Super Speedway racing?
I'm pretty sure Dega's where I got my nickname from, so I'm going to have to remind everybody on why. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to finally win my first championship, so we're going to see what happens.
Well, sometimes you have to be calm, cool, and collected. Just ask Bill Edwards to win a championship, John. So, wild child, yes, but at the same time, calm, cool, and collected sometimes gets the job done as well. You know what they say about the tortoise versus the hare. But a win here tonight, being the hare for sure. We'll see you next week at Dega. Before I let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
My father, you guys put him on the broadcast. My father really loves Gleason in the booth. He thinks he's hilarious, belittling me. He's rubbing off on you too, I see. Stay tuned sports. I love having them on the car, especially when we run the Throwback this week. Yes, that is an actual Throwback in 1996. I know some people probably don't recognize it, but JT putting the scheme together for me, sim shots to let me hang around, and just everybody in TNR for a great league.
All right. Well, John, congratulations on the win here tonight, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Back.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our post-race interviews abridged here tonight. Unfortunately, unable to get a post-race interview with tonight's runner-up, Lupe Gonzalez. But a really strong, good race here tonight at Darlington Speedway, Garrett. I'm looking forward to Dega.
Peter, I'm just going to assume you're talking to me at this point because I had my fingers in my ears for the entire John Cannizzaro interview. So, looking forward to Dega. Lupe
Garrett,
Gonzalez,
I wasn't talking
great
to you.
run. Oh, I'm sorry. Lupe Gonzalez, great
Shut
run,
up.
P2. We'd like to give you an interview next week if you'd like. We haven't heard from you. I'd like to talk to you. You've
He's
been in the
still
league
not
a couple
listening.
seasons. Now you're making me laugh.
Oh, boy. Well, Garrett, are you listening now?
Not really. Like most men, I just don't listen.
Well, yeah. Well, we will let you read the final race results. How about that? Can you do that for me?
Oh, absolutely. I learned how to read about 3 years ago, so I got this. Coming home in first place, John Cannizzaro, the cannoli, a.k.a. the Wild Child.
You said his name.
Well, it's his father's name, too, so out of respect for his father, I'll say his name.
That's
Lupe
true.
Gonzalez comes home in second place. Ben Eizenga comes home in third. Tristan Thuggy Maher, the number 17, comes home in fourth place. Jason Gracias rounding out your top 5. Philip Scott, good run, still only led 19 laps, comes home in sixth. Kyle Zimmer, another good run at Darlington, comes home in seventh. Jamar Dumas, a pretty quiet race, but coming home in the top 10. Good friend, great person, Vincent Valvano, P9. And Jason Freeman recovers and rounds out your top 10. So let's go through to the 11th through 18th now, Garrett. You're a professional. John Eckhart comes home in 11th. Bill Edwards led some laps, comes home in 12th. Kevin Stone in 13th. Keith Carba in 14th. Fernando Matos with a nice top 15 run. Jason Schue did not take advantage of those new tires at the end, coming home in 16th. Two of the fastest cars in the race, JT Poole and JD Laird, coming home in 17th and 18th.
And you want me to change the thing? Okay, you're not that
if you'd
much.
like. I mean, we're falling apart here, but Steven Doziak comes home in 19th. James Lorello will round out your top 20. Mike Tellier with a rare bad race this season in 21st. Robert Tripp 22nd. Brady Todd 23rd. And the rest of these guys had some issues. Cam Caldwell, Dave Harvey, Alonzo Chicano. I don't know if Johnny Williams has finished the race his entire career here at TNR. And Jake Hoyle in 28th.
I was just testing your professionalism there, Garrett. That's all. You failed.
I failed. I could do better next week. I got one more crack at this, right?
Yeah, you have to be up here in the booth with me next week at Talladega. But hey, folks, we want to give a big shout out tonight to Jason Freeman, or not Jason Freeman, what am I saying? Jason Schue, the other Jason in the field, for sponsoring the Jason Schue Racing 110 here at Darlington Speedway. Of course, Bagcraft Cornhole.com. If you have not checked them out, there's a link in the description to check out all their really cool cornhole accessories and clothing. Make sure you like them. And if you're a participant this year in the Total Nonstop Racing Bagcraft Grand National Series, you have to go get one of their shirts. Really, really cool stuff. And especially if you're a fan of Total Nonstop Racing League and 3Wide TV in general, go check them out, as well as all the other series sponsors here. Great to have you on board, Garrett. Anyone else that you want to give a shout out to?
No, Peter, just you. I appreciate you squeezing us in with the new family, and it's a pleasure always to be in the booth with you. Thank you to all our sponsors, like you mentioned, and we'll see you next week.
All right, folks, another thrilling race in the BagcraftCornhole.com Grand National Series. It rolls on next week at 8:10 Eastern Time at Talladega Superspeedway. But until then, stay safe and all that good stuff, and we shall see ya.